Cinemajaw is brought to you by Cards Against Humanity. Guess what?
What, Matt?
They asked us not to read an ad.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
That is so cool.
Dead serious.
Wow.
Enjoy the show. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location at Cards Against Humanity. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is
Rye the Movie Guy. And sitting alongside us this week, filling in, is Fill Me In Phil.
How's it going, Jawheads?
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we take a look at Brad Pitt as we cover our top 3 favorite Brad Pitt scenes.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. We went in depth on Brad Pitt way back in the day. Actually, can we throw that in the early Jaw box?
Throw it in the Jaw box. We did do an in-depth on Brad Pitt.
I want to say it was like year 2 of Cinemajaw, like way long time ago.
Yeah, we've had success when we've looked at an actor who has a large filmography, say like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt this week. We've had success looking at that actor and micromanaging it down to just scenes, our favorite Brad Pitt scenes.
Moments, if you will.
Moments. I like that. And we're doing that because we have a review this week, don't we, Matt?
Yeah, War Machine. This is an interesting film for a lot of reasons.
Save it.
I'm saving it.
Yeah, we also have a great guest who's going to be joining us this week.
Yes, Lauren O'Neill from Wkqx is in the house.
Can't wait to talk to Lauren.
Yes, this is someone I've been wanting to get for a very long time.
Oh, same here, because, Matt, if anything, I mean, she's going to make us look like a bunch of hacks. I mean, she's on the radio live. It's a lot easier when you have editor Phil correcting all our mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, it's nothing new for you. I make you look like a hack every week, so.
This is true.
Yeah.
Besides that, we have a whole lot more going on this episode, don't we, Phil?
Yes, we're also going eye for an eye on Baby Driver.
And as mentioned, we're doing a review on War Machine.
Yes. Plus, because Phil said we were going eye for an eye on Baby Driver, I thought this would be a good time, a really good time, to play Drive movie trivia, yourself versus Lauren. Think of movies with Drive in the title.
Okay. I love it when you go Alex Trebek, man. It's
There
good.
you go. Also,
Potpourri. You got to do a potpourri category.
potpourri?
Yeah.
I should. And what I can do is just take the years of trivia questions that I've written, maybe up to 1,000 now,
Yeah.
and just shuffle them up and recycle them.
Potent Potables is also one of my favorites.
Big news, though, Matt.
Okay.
Did you see that the Star Wars directors of the Han Solo movie, the standalone Han Solo movie, have been, I guess, I don't want to say they've been asked to leave, but they are both saying, them and also Disney are saying, creative differences, they are parting ways.
I did see that, yes. And you know what? I think it's fine.
What?
No, it's fine. It's good. Let the studio, you know what? I feel confident.
Are you on crack?
No,
It's not fine.
it's absolutely fine.
This late in the game, they already started shooting, and now they're going to have creative differences?
Trust in Disney.
No way, man. Trust the directors, the artists here.
No.
CinemaWAR. Ooh, Lauren is going to have her hands full with that one right there. You're going down, buddy.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Maybe. You've stacked the deck in your favor yet again.
Yeah. All right. Before we bring Lauren in, some Cinemajaw happenings. Matt, we are recording in a brand new studio space today.
Yeah. We are in the big studio at Cards Against Humanity, not the red door this week. And this is our first time in here.
Yes. We'll have to take pictures. Can you please post out on Instagram?
I will. Absolutely.
Also, Cinemajaw happenings. We were planning to do our movie of the month pick, Glenn Ross, but we're behind a little bit. We had some things that we weren't.
Start of summer stuff.
Yeah, things popped up that put us back a week. So we'll be reviewing the movie of the month on next week's show.
You know, a good way to say that is, hey, you guys, you get a whole extra week to check out Glenn Ross.
Do it. It is streaming on Netflix. I think that's all the happenings we have.
That's enough.
Yeah, I agree. So without further ado, Matt, we bring in our guest, Lauren O'Neill. She is on the radio. She's going to make us sound, like I said, like a bunch of hacks.
No pressure.
You can hear her on Wkqx 101 here in Chicago. Lauren, welcome to Cinemajaw.
Hi, Jawheads. As I hit my microphone.
I love it. We should describe what Lauren has got.
She came
going.
prepared.
Yes, she really did. I open up the door as she comes in. We're waiting. Matt is running late. The Jawheads can appreciate this.
That never happens. Never.
The doorbell rings. I go to get the guest, and there she is wearing a Wonder Woman tiara.
Yeah.
And it's a legit looking tiara
really
too.
is. That is awesome. Where did you get that?
I stole it from Wonder Woman herself. Yeah.
And live to tell the tale.
I did. I just got in there real quick and just swipe. So I just wanted to channel as much moviness as I could for today. If you haven't noticed, I also have my Alkaline Trejo shirt.
I love it.
From Cryptic Closet.
She looks like a badass over there.
Yeah, I love Danny Trejo, by the way.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Machete don't text.
Now, Lauren, it's interesting because right before we started recording, I mentioned that our editor, Phil, went to Columbia for radio. Did you get started in college, go to college for radio?
Not originally. I went to college in Florida at the University of Florida, and I was bartending at the time, and I was actually a dance minor and a public relations major. And
That's an odd mix.
yeah, well, we had to have a separate minor, and I don't even ask I danced most of my life, so figured I would teach a ballet class on the weekend. I have no idea. But I was bartending, and we would host these concert series that the radio station would put on that was an independent radio station, but it was on the college campus. So it was a 100,000 watt tower. It was enormous, but it was staffed by students. So those were my favorite nights to work, just to watch the bands play and see the DJs do the stage announcements. And I think I threatened my way into getting an internship and told them.
Do tell. How did you threaten your way?
I don't know. There was alcohol involved, and we were all drinking at the bar, and I think I just told the guy, "You need to hire me." I don't know if it was so aggro like that.
You were probably wearing the Wonder Woman tiara at this time.
I think I had some version of something on my head. It may not have been the Wonder Woman tiara, but there was lots of whiskey involved. So, but he gave me a shot, and I started out as an unpaid intern, just doing promotions and dressing up in logos, and I don't know, just kind of bringing attention to these otherwise maybe typically boring events at gas stations and whatnot. So I kind of worked my way up the ranks, and it came to a summer session, and they were pushing me to go on the air. And I didn't really have time. I was putting myself through college. I was bartending 45 hours a week. I was a bud girl also, and going to school full time. So I took a class less over the summer and just said, I'm going to try this. And I fell in love with it. So that was a long time ago. I've been doing it for a long time now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do you get your start then after you leave Florida? Do you go to a smaller market before you make your way to Chicago?
Well, a lot of my predecessors were shooting demos out just all over the country, and they were landing jobs in Little Rock and North Dakota, and no offenses to those places, but
they suck.
They're no Chicago.
Well,
I kid.
I had been at school for, I don't know, for five years, I guess. I was on the long-term plan. And I just miss being home. I grew up in Clearwater, St. Petersburg, so I either wanted to go home or I wanted to stay in Gainesville. I'd really worked up this huge thing at the time where I had taken over this local concert series.
And just curious, is this social media time or?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Way before.
So it's even harder back then to work up an audience.
Oh, yeah. But Gainesville is a really interesting and cool college town. I mean, there's tons of students, and there's the cliques of the jocks, and there's the fraternities and stuff, but there is such an amazing music scene there where there would be 200 active bands at any time. And that's where I really found my calling, was being this bridge for these local bands to get onto mainstream radio. So I was doing a local band focus show on Sundays, and then I was hosting this local band showcase every Thursday night and doing the stage announcements and helping book the bands. And then I had a night, typical Monday through Friday radio show, and then I was doing remotes. And I had just really infiltrated, I guess, the music scene at the time and wanted to stay there and love these bands. So it was either basically going to the competition after I graduated or trying to go home. So I ended up going home. I landed a job in Tampa, Florida at 98 Rock and was there for 7 years. And
That's a lifetime, right?
it's
in
a
radio.
very long time, yes, to stay at the same place. And especially with how fickle and unreliable this industry has been and how many of these big companies have just been slaughtering positions. So mine came up 7 years into it, and it was so devastating to me at the time that I considered just getting out of the business and doing something different entirely. And a former boss of mine handed me a list of people who were waiting to hear from me, and one of them was Jim Richards here in Chicago. And I don't even remember. I was so traumatized. I just shot him an email, just, hey, this happened to me, and I don't know. And he just said, would I like to come up to visit? So we picked a weekend, the next weekend, I think, and I was on a plane here. And the second I walked off the plane, I just fell in love with the city. It was late June too, so the weather was
That helps.
beautiful, and I just never seen people laying in the grass, just reading and enjoying the weather. I mean, Florida, everyone says it's so great, but it's 90 degrees pretty much year round, and you just sit in the air conditioning the whole time bitching about how hot it is. So,
And then winter came.
and I think I did pretty well. I acclimated pretty fast. It's just that first time you walk out in your Florida winter clothes and it's like walking into a brick wall where you realize I have skin. There's skins just hanging out everywhere, and holy jeans. So
Hilarious.
I learned how to layer.
So do you remember the first day you went on air here in Chicago?
I do. It was a very fast process. So I drove here over a 23-hour span, I guess, with one stop in the middle at this horrible motorcade POS motel outside of Nashville because they accepted dogs. I was driving with my dog. So I ended up getting really sick. And the first day of work, I could barely talk, but I couldn't not go in. So it was pretty bad. I had like a horrible fever. I was trying not to get anyone else sick. And then they ended up flipping the other station the next day. So it was kind of like this whirlwind of, here I am, we're launching this station Q87.7 at the time. And then that next day they flipped the 101 signal, which had been talk, to, I guess, this mix of 80s, 90s.
Yeah, that was
I-101.
Rock. Yeah.
an experiment.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all
Matt's
I'm going to say
not a
about it. No. Well, I mean, this for the Jawheads listening, there's a long and storied. There's actually a book JVO wrote about
The couple, yeah.
Q101 and that signal and everything that's it's back now to its alt rock roots.
Yeah, that was
Not to skip ahead.
I got those books just to learn because the legacy of this station was so incredible and such a great thing to come up and see the passion of all these people here for the station. So of course I had to learn about it, and well, now here we are.
It's awesome. So one of the perks of the job is probably maybe doing some interviews with some bands.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody that you were nervous or a particular interview that you could shine some light on?
Oh man. See, the thing with interviews to me is I don't treat them like an interview. Which may be a misstep, but I much prefer casual conversations. And I really love to find out what the fans want to know. And I put myself in that mindset. So I get nervous before every interview. And I think that's because it's so important to me. Because I love my job and I love these artists and I respect what they do.
And these are some big artists. I mean,
There's so many. We've had a lot of sound lounges lately, which is kind of a long form interview / performance. So I just had Tim McElrath of Rise Against, and that was incredible. The Lumineers. Gosh, I'm like not prepared to go through the whole list. We had the Strumbellas in not long ago. Bastille. I really should pull up our YouTube page.
It's okay. I mean, the list goes.
I'm trying to prepare. I just found out that I'm interviewing Flea from the
Oh,
Red
no
Hot Chili
way.
Peppers.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's kind of where my head is at right now. And then I had already been lined up to do 311. So those are my next 2 coming up. If anyone has any questions.
Oh, for sure. I've
Yeah.
got lots of questions for Flea.
Yeah.
He's
So-
been in a lot of movies too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait. I
Point
knew.
Break for one.
Okay. See, this is the thing, and we didn't do this disclaimer. I'm not a movie buff. I'm
Right.
the farthest from it. So I was actually hoping to learn a lot from you guys.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna.
We're writing notes down on your interview technique too. This is good.
One last question I had for you as far as the interviews, or really just being on live air in general, because we do the podcast and we can always edit or
Yeah,
any type
the
of
magic of
mistake
Phil.
is wonderful, or we can pause for a second. Worst thing that's happened on air where you just were shocked something went terribly wrong or you said the wrong thing. Something now that you can look back at and laugh at.
Well, there's been situations where I had to make sure my mic wasn't on because
You were
the
about to
tongues
curse somebody
fly.
out.
Yeah. I've never cursed on the air. As far, can I knock on something? As far as I know, I've never had one of those situations. I guess the way that I approach my show is very, it's for entertainment value. I don't take myself so seriously. So things happen all the time, whether it's, something falling, something breaking. I hit my teeth on the microphone. That's a big thing. I do a lot. And I just kind of roll with it. I mean, that's just, it's real. It's part of who I am. And that's what's important to me, is to represent myself in a genuine way. I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. And I'm definitely not super cool. So
And that's good advice, probably for people out there that want to get into radio.
yeah,
Be yourself.
definitely be yourself. Just embrace what makes you weird and different, because that's what makes you interesting.
It's just good advice in general, I think, even for podcasting, because, I've edited these things before we had Phil helping us out, and you could spend hours and hours going through and editing it, and it's never perfect. You got to just put it out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Good advice.
Yeah.
You actually took all of my questions.
Did I really? And I didn't even
Actually,
write
wait,
any.
no. I have one question for you, Lauren.
Okay.
Yeah, self-admittedly not a movie buff.
Yes, not at all.
Definitely a music buff.
Yes.
Is there a movie that has to do with music, let's say a rock movie, one that stands out like a favorite of yours?
Okay. I have a lot of live shows. Does that count?
Yeah, I guess
I
so,
have
sure.
an entire collection. Like, for someone who's not a movie buff, I actually own a lot of DVDs because
And
I think
mostly music stuff?
a lot of music stuff, yeah, and a lot of comedies. I'm a huge Will Ferrell fan. And
The truth comes out. Here she goes.
Yeah. And I just love comedy and I love music, and I have a lot of stand-up comedy too, actually. But then I have a lot of promo things from the radio station. So I've got a lot of weird movies that I've probably never even watched, or probably nobody's watched. But I love, gosh, I can't even think right now. I always pop in Lamb of God. It's like good, just ambient
That's some, yeah.
music. Killswitch Engage has a live show that I have that I love. Incubus at Red Rocks is amazing. A venue I want to go to that I've never been to. Almost Famous is a great
There you go.
rock movie.
Love it.
I can't think of any more.
Those are
Those are
all
good.
really good
Those are good.
Should have
recommendations.
studied more.
All good. I was just at the Randolph Street Fest. I don't know if you guys went, but one of the sponsors is Travel.
Taste of Randolph?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Travel Colorado. And so one of the stages is set up with these like big fake mountains
Oh, really?
for Red Rocks at the stage. They closed down Randolph that way. It's actually pretty neat looking to see, down Randolph Street.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. Now, Lauren, for the jawheads listening to this that want to follow you on Twitter, where's the best place to do so? On Twitter, Facebook, online, all that good stuff.
Well, on Twitter, I'm at Lauren O'Neill, Oneil. And Facebook and Instagram, it's at the Lauren O'Neill, because I wasn't the first one there. I got an ongoing feud with this Canadian Lauren O'Neill, who's also in media, who is a gem, but every time there's
we'll
a
kick
new
her ass. It's okay, Lauren.
every time there's a new social media, it's her and I, running to get the first Lauren O'Neill. So
That's funny.
Who won on Snapchat? Just curious.
I don't think I tried it. I think I just did because I figured maybe now I'm just the Lauren O'Neill. I've got
Just
the
go that route.
Gmail. I've got, the Facebook and the Instagram.
And as we mentioned, you can be heard here in
Yes.
Chicago.
In Chicago on
WKQX 101.
101 WKQX is 101.1. And then we also have a free app that you can listen to anywhere that you can get an app. And we stream online at 101WKQX.com.
And what hours? In case people want to listen just to Lauren.
Just to hear your teeth hit the microphone.
Right. I'm on 10 to 3, Monday through almost every single Saturday, Central Time.
Do it, Jawheads.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Yeah,
listen,
Jawheads.
Yes, listen to Lauren. Now, Lauren, we like to end all of our guest interviews with some silly cinema cues, we call them. Get to know the guest through the eye of the lens. Phil, do you got something for Lauren?
I do. I have one. You had mentioned that you're wearing your Danny Trejo Alkaline Trejo shirt.
Yes.
And the question is, if you could pick one Alkaline Trio song to have Danny Trejo do a cover of, what would it be and why?
That is a great question, Phil.
Oh my God. All right. If I had to pick, now he's singing or yes,
Definitely singing.
definitely singing. And does he have a chainsaw also?
He could.
Okay. I want him singing 97 with a chainsaw, one of Alkaline Trio's oldest songs. But he's got to have, and it's got to come in for the choruses. He's got to just hit that. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice, yeah.
I like it. Is that the only one, Phil?
That's the only one I have for you.
Sweating that.
Yeah, those cinema cues, they can be tough.
Yeah,
you know?
they're hard hitting.
They are. Now, Lauren is going to be sitting in on this entire jaw. She has her 3 favorite Brad Pitt scenes, and I actually think it's very important that we chose to do Brad Pitt scenes with at least one female.
Yeah.
You
Why is
got
that?
it.
Why?
Why?
He's
yeah,
a
actually,
sex symbol. He is a sex symbol, is he not? You said it yourself, Matt, that you have posters of Brad Pitt.
I do, yeah. But I mean, a dude can think he's a sex symbol just as well as a girl.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's been world's sexiest man a couple of times on these publications.
He
and
always
whatnot.
just edges you out by that tiny little bit.
Very slightly.
I
know it came down to a fan vote last time, and I was upset, but
It was a runoff.
yeah, son of a gun. All right, what are you going to do? Matt, it brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye. Phil, what do we got?
Eye for an eye. Baby driver. After being coerced into working for a crime boss, a young getaway driver finds himself taking part in a heist doomed to fail. The film stars Kevin Spacey, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx, and Ansel Elgort. It's written and directed by Edgar Wright. Rye, we throw it over to you.
All right, it's Edgar Wright. You could stop with those 2 words, I believe, right?
Sure.
Edgar Wright.
Or Jamie Foxx.
He can make some bad movies every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say Jamie Foxx.
Well,
I'm
he's also
going-
made some awesome movies.
Yes,
He's a good
but
actor.
When it comes to Edgar Wright, I mean, we're talking Hot Fuzz, we're talking Shaun of the Dead, End of the World, which I absolutely adored. I'm going to be interested in this film. And you throw in that cast: Jamie Foxx, John Hamm,
Spacey, yeah.
Kevin Spacey, for sure. And what I love so much about it is it flew under my radar. Anyways, I still haven't even seen the trailer for this movie. I've sort of ignored it because I'm so anticipating the film. I just want to go in with a plain.
Sure, no expectations.
An empty mind
There you
and
go.
heart.
Yes,
And
in
an
front
open
of me.
heart.
And,
Well, he
and
goes into everything with an empty mind. It's nothing new.
wow, tough crowd.
I
today.
know. I'm being mean to Ryan today. Sorry, man.
I'm interested, Matt.
So this looks like Grand Theft Auto, the movie, to me. I have seen the trailer, and it just looks amazing. I don't know if you've seen this trailer, Lauren.
I haven't.
Okay. Check it out right after the podcast. I saw the trailer, and I was, like, blown away. The poster, just for the poster alone, I want that thing on my wall immediately.
Next
Interested.
to your Brad Pitt one.
Yes. If Brad Pitt was on it, it would have been the perfect poster. Alas.
All right, I'm sorry. What was the name of it again? Baby
Driver.
Baby Driver. So at the name, with not knowing anything about it and seeing the trailer, it was a no. But between the 2 of you, you've totally sold me on it. So now I have to see it. Yep.
I think it's going to be the runaway hit of the summer that nobody's expecting, and boom, it just happens.
I sure hope so. Phil, we making it 4 for 4 here?
We absolutely are. Just like Ryan, I think Edgar Wright is what's selling it for me because he also did Scott Pilgrim, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, I think you might be mistaken. We could throw that in the job box.
Throw it in the job box.
I will put it in there.
You know, when it comes to this kind of stuff, Phil, you're probably right, but let's
I'm
make
not
sure.
positive myself.
Are they for sure going forward with Baby Driver? I mean, is that?
Oh,
up
it's
for
a done
vote?
deal, yeah.
God, it's just
I think
terrible name.
So I think it refers to the title character. He's this like very young punk, you know, like in his teens maybe, and he's a getaway driver. But when you see him drive, he's like smooth.
Wow. Yeah.
So it looks really cool.
Okay.
Like
I'm pretty excited. As it stands right now, we're hoping that is the movie we review next week.
yes,
So hopefully we can get out there and see it. Very excited. 4 interesteds for Baby Driver. Speaking of new movies, Matt,
yeah.
Brad Pitt has a new one out on Netflix.
War Machine. Does a satirical war film set in Afghanistan during the aughts, released directly onto Netflix, make any sense whatsoever? Ryan and I booted up the stream to find out.
Most of us here will know General McMahon as the man who kicked Al-Qaeda in the sack. You're welcome.
Get your troops in order. Move the needle a little bit. Show everyone a nice looking set of graphs. Just finish this thing.
It's a lost cause. We can stay in Afghanistan forever.
That's why I'm gonna win it. My team and I are about to embark on a new direction.
What is this new direction?
We build Afghanistan into a free and prosperous nation.
All right, smile for the cameras, Glenn.
Sounds a lot like the old direction.
Based loosely on the nonfiction book The Operators by Rolling Stone reporter Michael Hastings, War Machine is the story of a successful, charismatic 4-star general, Glenn McMahon, who barrels his way into command of the NATO forces in Afghanistan. First, it should be noted that Don Cheadle is not in this movie. Honestly, if it had been that film, it may have felt more relevant. If Hillary Clinton had won the election, this film might have felt more relevant. However, in today's political climate, this aughts-era satire feels a little tame by comparison. As crazy as that sounds, War Machine has a ton going for it. The cast is off the charts. Brad Pitt, Topher Grace, Anthony Michael Hall, Alan Ruck, who you may remember as Cameron from Ferris Bueller, Meg Tilly, Tilda Swinton, Ben Kingsley. I could go on and on. Pitt himself is a bit of a weak link here, but I respect the chances he takes with this character. Anthony Michael Hall is a standout, as are Ruck and Grace. Swinton's appearance is really just a cameo, but Ben Kingsley turns in a wonderful portrayal of the Afghan president who America installed, who was freely elected. Which those are among the funniest moments of the film. The soundtrack by Warren Ellis, who you probably have no idea who he is, Ryan.
Who?
And Nick Cave.
Who?
Yeah.
Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds?
That's right.
Yeah!
Yes. Is superb, and it wonderfully carries the tricky balance between war and satire. I love the soundtrack. Where War Machine falls down is the failure to balance on the tightrope of a genre blend they have set up for themselves. Part historical expose, part satire, part war film, part name another genre. The movie ultimately just tries to do a little too much. Jack of all trades, master of none. Director David Mashad, whose previous work includes The Rover and Animal Kingdom, does a great job with the visuals and the sight gags and the cast, but even he cannot quite decide where the story is coming from or where it's going. This did give them the benefit of a well-earned sucker punch later in the film where we get to ponder the cost of all these shenanigans being actual human lives. At the end of the day, it was successful in that one scene, if nothing else. Despite all that, I do recommend this film. It's funny and biting, if not just quite enough. There are some definite standout moments, and honestly, it's worth it for Alan Ruck alone.
Wow. You're getting pretty good here, Matt K.
Oh, hey, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a rare compliment.
I mean, for coming from me, I write a lot of these reviews on Cinemajaw. Now
Sure.
I listen to that, and I think you nailed it right on the head.
Yeah, I'm smiling. Wow.
Yeah, I would say War Machine does try to do too much. And if you saw the sloppiness, it is the balance of trying to get that satire right throughout the entire movie. When it starts, it's almost a screwball satire,
Sure, they set it up that way.
right? All the way up until I think that appearance by Tilda Swinton, where from that point, it's about the middle spot of the movie, and she starts asking almost serious questions as a German reporter questioning the American
No,
general.
she's a politician, but yeah.
I think she's a reporter, is she not?
No, she's an elected official.
Okay, well, I know she's asking questions because he's there
At a press conference, right.
He's there actually asking the Germans for 10,000 troops to help the U.S. forces.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking these like sort of hard-hitting questions that he's just doing the absolute minimum. He's giving them just those sound bites that they want and not really answering any type of biting question on why the war is still going, why we're there, and so forth.
Well, here's the thing that you got to know about Brad Pitt's character in this film. I don't think that he's obfuscating the truth or even trying to dodge the question. He just is being earnest and answering to the best of his ability. But the fact of the matter is the war made no sense.
Oh, exactly.
Even to his character.
Yes, and he really is not set up to be the man that answers those questions. He's put in a place to just do his job, and that is, quote unquote, win the war. And he's going to do it to the best of his abilities. But at that point, my point was going to be that the movie sort of switches from a screwball comedy into or a satire, screwball satire, into more of a hard-biting satire. It gets a little bit more serious from that point on, the second half of the film.
Yeah, and especially the third act. It tries to bite hard. But again, I think maybe it's because of today's political climate, that we find ourselves in. It doesn't hit nearly as hard. Listen, this was a horrible war, and yeah, I'm glad to see an expose of it, but it's kind of nothing compared to what's going on now,
I agree. And then you also commented on Brad Pitt, actually, out of that all-star cast, and I love Brad Pitt, might be the weak link here in some way. I don't know if he really pulled off the colonel...
He's a general, right?
General, whatever he is in the Army, the way I would have liked. It still looked like it was Brad Pitt acting like a general, more so than I believed this sort of... I don't want to call him screwball general, but the way they describe him in the beginning is he was like a throwback general from World War II living in today's, modern era.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he quite pulled that off.
No, I don't think he quite pulled it off either. It's a good, like I said, I respect his choices because he makes some bold decisions in this characterization, and he sticks with it, and he's Brad Pitt, so he does it well, but I don't think it completely pays off. It's a little corny.
Yeah.
Not as good as Inglourious Basterds?
No, definitely not as good as Inglourious Basterds.
That is the first thing that'll pop into your mind because he definitely but again, to agree with Ryan, it's like you feel like it's Brad Pitt doing a character, and it's almost like a Saturday Night Live type character.
Right.
I've heard that feedback about Jared Leto, that it seems like he's acting like a rock star instead of being a rock star on stage. So
Interesting.
it goes both ways,
Wow.
gentlemen.
Yeah. So it happens in the music industry also.
Does.
If only he could have acted like the Joker.
When could you even see him in that movie?
I know.
When the Joker was like never on screen.
This is true. But yeah, I would say War Machine, a little sloppy as far as tone goes with the satire. I wanted more out of the movie, ultimately.
Yeah. What'd you think, though? Did you hate it?
I didn't hate it, though. I would say it was like middle of the road. And unfortunately, we just went a CinemaWAR looking at Netflix's model of these films going directly to Netflix, and we went back and forth.
I liked it.
But I want them to have like a really good smash on their hands.
Yeah.
Wow, you have to see War Machine. They had it with Beasts of No Nation, but it's a smaller independent film. Not a lot of people caught it. This was their chance.
I know.
This was their
Ben
chance.
Kingsley, Brad Pitt,
Yes.
Tilda Swinton.
And
I mean,
it's
come
still
on.
It's a direct-to-video or direct-to-Netflix feel to the movie. It just didn't hit. And Ben Kingsley, wonderful.
Oh.
As the president.
And Tilda Swinton, and not to belabor this, but I mean, she's in the scene. She's in the movie for one scene. It's a short scene, like maybe all of 2 minutes. Nails it. I mean, just nails it. I love her.
I was watching it, as we said, did this on Netflix. So I was sort of like laying on the couch watching it. And when she comes on, as I've mentioned, I'm, the champion of her fan club, fan club #1 member.
President,
right here.
yeah.
President, yes. And I just I didn't even know she was in this movie. So it was like such a pleasant surprise.
Nice.
I'm like laying there and I just shot up like, oh my God, it's Tilda Swinton. I love her. So it was pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of good cameos.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, Rye, you had mentioned that some of the satire was a little bit sloppy. Did you have any particular scene that you liked the least?
I would actually go for the worst scene in this movie. The one that I had the trouble with at the most was the climactic battle scene, which is really, they're trying to drive home the point there at the end.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, and I'm not one to nitpick a lot of times with these films, this looked like the biggest war set I'd ever seen. It didn't look real at all. Did you pick up on this? when they're in that what's supposed to be this
It's
town
Afghanistan.
in Afghanistan looked like a movie set with like these fake walls that the guy was running down. It did not look at all believable. I don't know. It didn't work for me.
That particular complaint did not cross my mind whatsoever.
Do you have a scene that you were bothered by?
Yeah, the motivational speech, which actually is the lead into that scene. So here we have a movie that's like a comedy, right? A satire the whole way through. And then the third act sets up and it becomes like a war procedural where you're following soldiers through the village we were just talking about. And, you know, bullets are flying. And there's this speech that this Marine captain or something gives to the platoon as they're about to leave. And again, this is where the tone, I mean, it was a good speech, I guess, but the tone just was so weird because we're in a comedy and then it switches to this real motivational speech to these Marines and I'm waiting for a punchline. So it just felt really strange and out of place.
How about any favorite scenes that you guys might have had?
Mine would be, and I probably laughed the most, and I really like when a comedy moment in a film, you can see it coming from a mile away, but you still enjoy that comedy moment. And there was a moment here where Brad Pitt is playing this colonel who you can tell deep down in really does want to have, quote unquote, FaceTime with the president. He wants to be important. And there's a moment where President Obama is talking about having some FaceTime with him. And why don't you come to Air Force One? We're going to talk. That whole lead up where I think as a viewer, as you're watching it, you know it's just not going to work out for Brad Pitt's character. Something's going to happen, and he's not going to get his FaceTime that he's trying not to.
He's even told his wife, like, I'm sorry, I can't hang out. I got to go meet with the president.
Yeah, so to his wife, but to the soldiers, he's trying to act like too cool. Like, I really don't even care if I meet him, but you can tell that he really wants to meet him. And, of course, it doesn't work out. I love that whole sequence right there.
My favorite moment would have to be when he sits down with Ben Kingsley. They're both like,
that was a great scene.
It's like super formal, and this guy is like ridiculously upright, you know, and they wait for each other to sit down. It's like this perfect comedic moment. Man, he's a master. I'm talking about Kingsley.
Kingsley, yeah. Even the moment where he walks in on Kingsley is supposed to be the president of Afghanistan. He's trying to hook up a Blu-ray player with an HDMI cable.
He thinks he's praying. Yeah.
That was hysterical.
I
laughed there. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's great. What about any movie influences you guys saw?
You know, I spoke about this movie. It's a political satire that I've mentioned a few times on CinemaJaw. It is entitled In the Loop. And this was a political satire on how we got England to come along with the invasion of Iraq. It reminded me very much of that. Just not quite as good as In the Loop. I would recommend In the Loop over this.
Well, as I think Lauren pointed out, Inglourious Bastards, right? You brought it up. So that's an obvious one because it's Brad Pitt in like a military role. So that springs right to mind. And then I'd say Burn After Reading, which is another screwball Brad Pitt comedy. So.
Did you guys learn anything?
I was going to bash Topher Grace at this point, but you praised him.
Yeah.
I was going to say Topher Grace's career is done. I mean, he was minimal in this. I mean, he should be a name. But the other thing that I really picked up on was I had no idea that Rolling Stone sent a reporter to Afghanistan to cover this colonel. I didn't know anything of the backstory. In fact, when I was watching this, I kept thinking, oh, this must be based on a true story. You could just get and it made me look that up on Wikipedia. So it did make me realize that this really did happen. And
it did, but this is a fictionalized account of it.
It is. And the strange thing that the Rolling Stone reporter died in a car crash, which a lot of
suspicious circumstances, perhaps?
Yes, a lot of theories.
Or it could have
there.
just been in a bad car crash.
But it was strange. But I did learn that.
Interesting. That is good. I learned pick a direction and stick with it. Don't be all over the place.
I think that's good advice for anything.
Yeah. These directors should have taken that advice.
Unless you're watering the lawn, then you should probably get it all.
What about any movie poster quotes?
My movie poster quote would be, ready, aim, misfire.
Ooh,
that's good. That is good, man. Mine is cast-tastic. Trying to stay positive because the cast is just unbelievable. Anthony Michael Hall. I mean, how long has it been since we've seen that guy really tear into a role?
For me, it's been so long.
Right.
I mean, a lot longer than you.
The 80s, for real. I mean, like he's unrecognizable now, but it's him.
Yeah. Let's assign some grades here, Matt. What are you giving War Machine?
Listen, I liked it. Okay, it's middle of the road. I would say two Jaws.
I'm two Jaws also. I'd say two Jaws. That's what I mean by a misfire. I wanted, I guess, more. My expectation was 3.5 out of this thing. Two Jaws. You're not going to waste your time seeing it, but don't go out of your way.
You know what? I do recommend it.
All right.
It's on Netflix if
Give
you're
it
doing
2.5
Netflix
then.
and
Give
chill.
it 2.5.
All right.
2 jaws and a tooth.
It's a 2.5-er.
All right.
Guys, grab a beer and check this one out.
All right. 2.5 Jaws. 2 Jaws for me. For War Machine. If you saw War Machine, you agree, disagree, shoot us a tweet at Cinemajaw or an email, feedback@cinemajaw.com.
Please do.
We love getting that feedback. Speaking of Brad Pitt, he is our topic this week. And Lauren, I found this out, Matt. Lauren's a fan of Brad Pitt.
I'm a huge fan, but not for the reason that you think, because he's a sex symbol. I think he's an incredible actor. I love that. One, he's always eating. In every single movie, I feel like he's always eating, and
I have not picked up on this.
I don't know. It adds to some comedic value to me, and whether the role is serious or comedy or whatever. But I think his skills run the gamut. I love that he does take risks. I've actually seen a terrible Brad Pitt movie that I couldn't even get through. Any of you heard of the Tree of Life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
It's a masterpiece.
It's a bone of contention
Yes.
here, yeah.
It is a masterpiece.
Oh, wow.
Matt has not
I've not seen it, but a lot of we've had
Oh.
other critics on who hated it.
So it was an independent.
Yeah, it's
Terrence-
directed by Terrence Malick.
Malick,
He's a
yeah.
master
I think
when he does things right. Yeah.
I must have gotten it from a Redbox. Does that sound right?
Sure.
And I don't remember a whole lot. I just felt like I was on some kind of contact acid trip, and I was like, this is not. Couldn't follow what the hell was even happening.
Well, I would say this because you've admitted that you're not like the biggest movie buff, right?
No, I'm the opposite.
I would say that's like, if we were recommending, we're at the drugstore, at the
Mm-hmm.
marijuana store or whatever, and you were recommending a drug, you would say, well, how seasoned are you at this? I would never recommend Tree of Life to a non.
This is a very interesting analogy
Yeah,
you've made,
I
Ryan.
love it.
Well, I was just in Amsterdam a little while, so
okay.
they ask these kind of questions. No, but I would say I would say Tree of Life. No, if you're not into movies, I mean, it was almost experimental in a way.
Yeah.
So it borderline that
I felt
major
like
release and experimental film in one.
Wasn't under enough mind-altering substances to handle it. So yeah, I turned it off.
Gotcha. Well,
I
I
gotta see
loved it.
this one. I gotta see it
Oh,
just so I can argue with you.
It's in our Voodoo cloud, so you can watch it anytime.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
I've got no excuse.
Before we get to our top three, your take on Brad Pitt, Matt.
What do you think about Brad Pitt?
What do I
Who's
think
on
about-
your
I mean, after all that praise,
Well, I
Lauren
just
gave
call
you.
him Brad.
poster? Oh yeah, sure.
I think Brad is at the top of his game. So not only is he a sex symbol, let's be honest, he is. He's also a tremendous actor. I agree with you. He's got the range from comedy to drama, action. I love him in just about everything. He's also a great director and producer in his own right. Like he's
I don't think he's directing anything.
Maybe not directing, but has he not directed?
I don't think so. I don't think he's directed one thing. Throw it in the jaw box.
Okay. Regardless, he has his own studio, Plan B.
Right.
And I think he's made some really interesting choices thus far with the stories that he chooses to get made and to tell.
Yeah.
So all around, I think he's a great guy. He's probably one of the best, if not the best, leading man working today.
Wow.
Wow. That
I mean,
strong
really,
words.
yeah.
Quite a statement.
Here's my take on him. I don't think he's that strong of an actor as you guys are praising him. I do like Brad Pitt though, and he's
Right.
quote unquote a movie star. He still has that, and then there isn't a whole lot out there. Sometimes you got your Tom Cruises, where they're
Whose star is fading, let's be honest.
right, but they're big movie stars before they're even almost actors. It's a different category in some
Sure.
degree, and I would say that he's gotten a lot better lately. I think he's trusting himself a little bit more, so he's a little bit more subtle in his roles, and I like some of those choices. I don't like Brad Pitt when he's playing a really eccentric character. Like
Burn After Reading?
right, I don't like him in those
Snatch?
roles. I don't like him in those. Not going to be on my list. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Lauren, you're getting to start at your number 3 favorite
Why do I have to start?
favorite Brad Pitt scene.
So when I heard that we were doing this, I really started to remember all of the Brad Pitt movies because there's so many.
He's done quite a few.
So to only pick 3 scenes out of all of those movies, I thought was a huge challenge. So I have probably a bunch of ties. So for the third spot, I couldn't figure out between Troy and the fight scene of Achilles and the Prince. And then Ocean's 11, I think, when he and George Clooney had the Oprah moment. I love that one.
I don't remember the Oprah moments.
That's where they're watching Oprah. I think that's Ocean's 12, maybe.
Is it 12?
I think so.
See, I told you, I don't know.
There's a lot.
There's so many. But the what's in the box from 7?
This could be on our list.
Yeah,
I mean,
these
they're
are
probably on your list too. But then I was also turned on. So I searched for outside help. I have to be honest here because I just
saw
put
that
it
on
out.
your Twitter too. Yeah.
Yeah, I put it out on my Twitter and Facebook. What are your top 3 Brad Pitt scenes? Which turned me on to these movies that I had never even heard of that he was in, like Cool World.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's very early Brad Pitt. But
Yeah. So I only saw the one scene of I don't know where he get with the cartoon and and then they kiss and then she turns into Kim
Basinger.
Basinger.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
right?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never seen that movie, but then I had to put that on my my 4-way tie for third place.
Wow, a lot of ties at third place there.
I'm sorry.
No, those are all great picks.
Couldn't
Cool
decide.
World's a really good deep cut.
Now, are you going to have ties on every one of your picks?
No.
Okay, just on number 3.
Yeah, the other 2 are the same movies, but maybe different. I couldn't decide on the scenes.
Nice.
You can help me.
Yes. Swing it over to Matt. Matt,
Okay.
what do you got sitting there?
At number 3, I have Brad Pitt in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different scenes you could choose from. Mm-hmm. But I think the one that was the tensest and the most fun is
Can
the
I guess?
Yeah, go.
Buongiorno.
Yes. Yeah, buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Yeah. Wow. That was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And just a great movie, first of all. But, I mean, him opposite Christoph Waltz, who I think a lot of people were kind of getting to know for the first time in that movie. Mm-hmm. It was just like watching 2 tennis players, you know, like masters at their game. It was great scene. I love that one.
Yeah, wonderful. Might talk more Inglourious Bastards as we go along because there are so many wonderful scenes with Brad Pitt in there. Swings it over to my number 3. And just like Lauren, I have ties.
Yay! I didn't know if I was breaking the rules.
No, but it was one movie that I wanted to highlight that had 2 great scenes. One highlighted by Brad Pitt, the other one just a great scene in general. And I'm going with his baseball movie, Moneyball.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, I forgot about that
That's
one.
another deep cut. Well done.
That's a great movie.
And this is where I was just mentioning why I think he gets better with age. He really seemed to trust himself of not doing a whole lot. He's really stripped down in Moneyball. He's just playing a character that's not too much over the top or maybe not too different than who Brad Pitt may actually be in real life. And the 2 scenes that I wanted to highlight was the very end of this movie. I just adore it. And this is when the Oakland A's have lost again. He's been offered this wonderful offer by the Boston Red Sox, and he's driving in the car, and it's just him in the car, and he grabs that tape that his daughter made for him, and she starts saying,
Hey Dad, this is the song I told you I'd record. Please don't show it to anyone else. Let me know if you change your mind and stay in California. If not, you're a really great dad.
And she starts singing.
I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze.
And it's just Brad Pitt's face, and he's driving. He's sort of welling up with tears, and there's not much going on, but somehow he is able to convey what we all would imagine he is feeling at that moment while he's driving on the road. And that's the sign of a great actor, where it's not like a major moment at that moment.
That was a major moment for you, I think.
For me.
To admit that, yeah.
Yeah, I love that particular scene. So the very end of Moneyball, and then also in Moneyball was when the Oakland A's actually do break the record of 20 straight wins at a time. Brad Pitt's driving because he doesn't like to watch the games at all. And then they're up big, so he's like turns around and he goes back and they end up blowing the lead, tying the game. And that moment when they end up hitting a home run to win the game, and he's down in like the clubhouse, the music, you got Star-Lord in there. He's one of the Oakland A's. Jonah Hill. I love that moment in Moneyball. It's magical. So those 2 scenes for Brad Pitt for me.
Nicely done.
Yeah. All right. Those were our 3s. We're into our 2s, Lauren.
Okay, my 2 is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now, is that good?
Yeah, I'll ring the bell. I think the movie's terrible, but go ahead.
He does it for every pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm torn between 2 scenes because I love the fight scene between the 2 of them when they're just going after each other in the house and in the yard. But I also love the tango where they're disarming each other while they're dancing, and the tension, but the passion. You can see that this is, this failed marriage, but that they actually have so much in common that they've never known because they've basically lived a lie the whole time that they've been together. So, yeah, those are my 2 scenes.
Have you seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I have.
I fell asleep on the movie.
What?
It's not that bad.
You like the Tree of Life and not Mr. and Mrs.
Yes.
This is the kind of guy I have to sit
action.
across. I agree. It's not a good movie per se, but it's a fun action flick to just kind of. I like fun movies.
Yeah, it was fun. Plus, you're watching them literally fall in love with each other in real life.
Have you ever seen War of the Roses?
I haven't.
Oh my God! If
know.
you like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you will love War of the Roses.
Okay. I was going to say, you're going to be really upset about the movies that I haven't seen.
It's okay, but I put this one on your list. It's
Okay.
Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas.
Okay.
Amazing stuff.
War of the Roses.
Yes. Sparks fly. And Danny DeVito. So
Okay.
Sold.
sold.
Matt, what do you got sitting at number 2?
And number 2, there was a time when the name Guy Ritchie really had some clout. It was really... It was right after Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. We all were waiting for what this guy did next. And what he did next had
take a big dump.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not...
This movie is... it's overpraised. Go ahead.
Listen. I'm not going to praise it as much as Lock, Stock, okay? But I like Snatched, and due in no small part to Brad Pitt's character choices, again, with his character Mickey. So if I have to pick just one scene, it's the first time we hear him talk, because he has this imperceptible dialect. It's just I should say, impenetrable dialect. You cannot get past it. I forget what they call this group of people. I think Pikeys, is that right?
I believe so.
Now, there is a problem with Pikeys or gypsies.
What are you doing, Potter? Get out the way back.
Can't really understand much of what is being said.
You tell me. Come about a caravan.
Okay, which is sort of like a mix between Irish and gypsy or something, and just amazing. They really did build up a cool little culture for these characters, and he is. I honestly at that point just thought he was a pretty face, and I really think that this was one of the first moments where we saw Brad Pitt could do a character that was clearly not Brad Pitt.
Hey, the punishment contest for the horses, you know that.
Wow. I didn't get that at all. I remember this movie
Really?
came on. I was like, what is this guy mumbling about? I couldn't stand it. I don't like, I've talked about this, that I think Guy Ritchie is extremely overrated as a director. So I remember watching this movie and just being like, what? Why do people even like this movie? It's a pile of crap.
No.
It is.
It's not as good as Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but it's a good movie and a good entry for Brad Pitt.
Maybe you need to watch it with the subtitles on.
Get dogs. Do you like dogs? Dogs. What?
Yeah, dogs.
Dogs. Do you like dogs?
Oh, dogs.
Maybe.
Maybe you need to
Just a
watch it
thought.
after Tree of Life
Yeah.
for the 80th time.
Boy,
We're going to one of those Amsterdam stores you like so much.
All right, swings it over to my number 2, and I have Inglourious Bastards here.
Okay.
Just a different scene. And this is the Aldo Rain speech. This is when we meet him and the bastards. And it is that wonderful speech. This is where he has an accent, but you can actually understand Brad Pitt as he's talking. And this is when he's saying,
Once we're in enemy territory, as a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're going to be doing one thing and one thing only: killing Nazis.
he's got this wonderful accent, and he's addressing the bastards. And as he's talking about all the havoc and the murder and that they're going to go over to Germany and cause, the camera then pans over to Eli Roth's character, and he just has this sinister grin on his face.
That dude is scary, like in real life.
I would never want to meet him.
No.
I rewatched this scene at lunch today, and I just laughed. I thought, God, I remember being creeped out by this sinister grin then, and I still am today. So love that entire moment.
Yeah, he starts calling for scalps.
Each and every man under my command owes me 100 Nazi scalps.
But it was, yes, that whole scene is great.
It is the best. And him working with Tarantino, I thought was a huge boost for Brad Pitt, because I think in the hands of a really good director, it elevates Brad Pitt, especially later on. Now I'm becoming a fan of his. I wasn't. His early work like Snatch.
Dude, get over yourself, will ya? Have some fun.
He's gonna love him by the end of this podcast, and
Yes.
he's gonna want to borrow your poster.
So that was my number 2, Inglourious Bastards. We're into our number 1s.
Here we go.
One. Should we like drum roll or Fight Club? It's got to be Fight Club.
Yeah.
Which scene, though?
See, that's the problem. I mean,
I'm not going to lie, Matt, do you also have Fight Club at number 1?
I do not.
Okay, I do.
the rules are what I always think about when I think about Fight Club is the rules. So that's the scene, but also the first fight between Edward Norton and Brad Pitt, Tyler Durden. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Edward's character.
Absolutely.
I believe he's never named.
Really?
Yes, Edward Norton character is not named in Fight Club.
Interesting. Okay.
He is, because ultimately he is Tyler Durden.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But when they actually fight each other for the first time out back of the bar, and he's going through this whole thing that we've
Never been in a fight, you?
No, but
and how
Can you know about yourself you've never been in a fight? I don't want to die without any scars.
you hit me in the ear. So
Motherfucker! You hit me in the ear!
it was a emotional roller coaster of comedy and
violence.
And violence.
Matt, I liked Lauren this whole time. I liked her. Now she just elevated 10 rings right all the way up to the top.
Wow.
This was also my favorite scene in Fight
Wow.
Club, over the rules of Fight Club. That first moment,
Yeah.
and it is one of the best lines. Play it now, Phil.
So come on, hit me before I lose my nerve.
What a great line that is. And you're so right, Lauren. He punches him in the ear is hysterical. That entire moment, not to mention, I think if you were going to say the iconic look of Brad Pitt,
Oh, yeah.
that moment there, he has that
red leather jacket.
that red leather, it's almost like a brownish red,
Yeah.
and he's got that like fat collar.
Oxblood is
It
the actual name.
It is awesome. I look at that, and like if someone was going to paint him like a Warhol, and they
To
were gonna
hang
put
on
him-
your wall.
To hang on your wall, that would be the
No, to hang on your
Brad-
wall.
What? Stop pointing at me. You should be pointing at Matt Kay.
No, you should put that on your wall.
Yes, but if you were going to put that on your wall, that would be the iconic image of Brad Pitt, I think, in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough to argue with that, man. So my number one after those two is probably going to fall a little flat. But I really love this moment. It's not from Seven. Listen, we have Brad Pitt's voice in every single podcast. We have this thing called the Jaw Box,
what's in the box?
which we let Elias this week Phil out of to tell us the facts we missed. And you hear Brad Pitt say, "What's in the box?" Easily number one. I didn't put it on the list because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And I went with another one. There was a time when Christian Slater's star was way bigger than Brad Pitt's star. There
When
was a
was
time.
this? When?
This was around the time he did a film called True Romance.
Oh yeah.
And there was a character who
Dax?
Floyd.
Floyd, sorry.
I think we all knew this guy, right? We all had this friend who was just like
The guy on the couch.
the dude on the couch. Yeah. You know, like charming and good looking enough to go ahead and live on the couch as long as you smoke me up every time I sit next to you, kind of thing. So Clarence and Alabama are on the run. They're being chased by the mob who, trail them to their house. They're not there. So who do they bump into? It's Floyd. And what does Floyd do? The thing that every guy on the couch does. He offers the hitmen who are clearly armed a bowl. He's like,
You guys want to smoke a bowl? Or?
he's like smoking out of this honey bear bong. And then they cock their shotguns, and he immediately gets down to business and changes his tone, like, and then gives him an address. And it was just such an honest beat in the film. It's a tiny, tiny role for Brad Pitt, but I loved it. It's a scene I could watch on YouTube again and again because it was just a wonderful performance.
Nice. My number one was agreed with Lauren, was that moment in Fight Club. If I had to have one, I didn't want to maybe mention it because this is usually a family show, but there was a hidden camera on Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's honeymoon.
Get out of town.
Yeah,
What?
I think I saw it on YouPorn.
Come
I'm
on.
joking. Look at how excited Matt was over there. Holy cow.
There's new facts coming out.
Yeah.
Something I haven't seen?
Pause this podcast. No, I would say the Jew Bear scene, also in Inglourious Bastards,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
was
But that's
pretty
more of an
fantastic.
Eli Roth scene, really.
It is, but I watched that again, and he's pretty great in there as well. So
Yeah. He sells it.
he does.
Can I give you a little nugget, Matt?
Yeah.
So I reached out to my movie network, includes Scott Lucas of Local H.
Yes.
Former
is-
guest on this show.
He has been? I was
Yes.
going to say, you need to call him.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But yeah.
His number one was Condescend to Me, Man. Same.
Yeah.
Previous part
Floyd.
of that same from
Yep.
Floyd from True Romance.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a good
See?
pick by Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Scott agree. Must mean I'm right.
Any other honorable mentions for you, Matt?
I mean, we hit the high ones. I mentioned Seven. I'm a big fan of that movie in general. So, I mean, it's tough to pick one
And
scene.
the rules of Fight Club, pretty fantastic,
Yeah.
right?
Simple and to
Absolutely.
the point.
Yep.
I mean, the first two are the most important.
He's made a lot of great movies. When I looked over it, I was shocked how long he's been around and how many big movies have involved Brad Pitt.
There is one that we're not mentioning, and we should. This is the one that all the jawheads are screaming at their podcast device right now.
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise. Yeah. I mean, listen, this is the abs that we fell in love with. We talked about him being a sex symbol. This is probably the best example of that, right? I mean,
I don't know. Fight Club, Brad Pitt. If you even start to type in Fight Club, it immediately is like Brad Pitt diet, Brad Pitt abs. You know, it's just
true.
hard to actually get a real photo.
See, now that's actually a good question to throw out on Twitter. Which Brad Pitt is sexier, Fight Club Brad Pitt or Thelma and Louise Brad Pitt?
Or
Legends of the Fall Brad Pitt.
I was going to say that
with that
one.
long hair, the flowing
Yeah.
locks.
The younger brother. See, I almost said A River Runs Through It. But
He was in
that's
that as well,
what I
though.
meant. No, I think I meant
Yeah.
what you said.
Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
Wow.
We
So
covered
many
it.
Brad Pitts.
We did. If we missed your favorite Brad Pitt scene and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw. We will retweet it, get the discussion going. Matt, we got to take a break, get a refreshment.
Yep.
When we come back, Lauren is taking Matt on in Drive movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at studios. Too much power or not enough power? We'll be right back on CinemaJaw.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Hi, I'm Matt Kay with a CinemaJaw movie fact. Brad Pitt actually auditioned for the role of J.D. in the cult classic film Heathers. And although he showed talent, the casting directors thought him to be too sweet for the role, which later went to Christian Slater. He would later go on to a very similar role in the horror film Cutting Class. And that is your CinemaJaw movie fact.
The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And we are back on CinemaJaw, hanging out with Lauren O'Neill. Lauren, I have to ask you, I remember a long time ago, there used to be where the radio stations would get together and compete in some type of charity event sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
Do they still do this?
No.
Not at all? Are you friends?
Not that I know of.
Are you friends with the other radio personalities here in Chicago?
I am. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm friends with all of them because I haven't had a chance to meet all of them, but I have an inbred respect for anyone in this industry because it's not easy, and it seems like it's it's just fun and games, and it is. It really is the greatest job to me in the world. But it doesn't come without hard work and a lot of heartbreak and pain. So I naturally just have respect for people in the industry, what I think about their talent. No, I'm just kidding. But everyone I've met here so far has been great. There are some people I've probably only met online, so couldn't speak to their actual character, but
one other thing I wanted to hit, and we were talking about this while we grabbed some refreshments here during that nice long break that we had, right, Matt Kay?
I love the break.
I do too, but when you listen to it on the podcast, it's like we're gone for about 30 seconds.
It doesn't seem like a break to them.
I know.
You guys knocked out like 50 push-ups each. It was great.
But one of the things I wanted to bring up was that you do these events. You either intro a band on stage, or maybe you go to some type of promotion at a store. Has there been something odd, strange, unique, one of those weird moments where you're like, Can't believe this is just even happening.
What the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah, that's actually when I met Matt at Mother's.
Really?
Yeah, it
This is
was
true story?
Cinco de Mayo.
That even gets a bell. What the hell am I doing here?
No, not what the hell. I was so grateful to meet Matt because he was so nice and accommodating.
you.
I don't
We
like where
had-
this is going.
we had a great event for believe it was Cinco de Mayo. It was definitely a drinking holiday.
Well, that's all I did. Yeah.
Bar crawl situation, and I think we gave away a trip to Mexico, and there was a great
Yeah, that was Cinco.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just were doing shots of whiskey, so
That's fun.
that's when I'm like, God, my job is really freaking awesome.
That's when you realize it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
For sure. Hey, really quick, new studio that we're recording in here. How does it stack up against a regular radio station studio? I think this is pretty damn nice.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I love the brick wall. I would put it against our new facility. We have a brand new facility, state of the art at NBC Tower, which you guys should come check out. We have a whole sound lounge, and everything's brand new. I haven't broken anything yet, thankfully.
Maybe we can do some movie segments on Lauren's show.
Ooh, we could do a screening in the sound lounge.
This
Let's
would be
do
fun.
it.
Yes.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, for the jawheads that want to follow along on social media, where's the best place to do all that good stuff?
Twitter at Lauren O'Neill, LAURENONEIL. And then Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram is at the Lauren O'Neill.
Everybody, do it.
Love it. Matt, before we get to CinemaWAR, before we get to trivia, we did throw a couple items into the jaw box.
Let's hear Brad Pitt.
And yeah, absolutely. We want to hear Brad Pitt, and we want to hear what Phil thinks of this new studio. Open up that jaw box.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
What's in the box?
How's it going, guys? So I'll get right into it.
Whoa. What about the new studio? Is it better than the jaw box?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I like to think of it if the Jawbox was a studio, it would be Rye the Movie Guy's condo, and this would be like I don't know, like a box from IKEA or something, where it's just like a lot of space. It's really well organized. There's instructions on how to use it, so that you guys would still throw them away, and Elias and I would have to figure out what to do. But
I love that. That's a very millennial analogy.
There you go.
Thank you. I am one. So
yeah, that's true. I noticed.
Okay. Well, and that actually ties in very well. Because the first question that you guys threw in is, when was the Brad Pitt in depth? And that was episode 87, September 27th, 2011.
Wow.
Wow.
Dude, we've been doing this a long time.
We sure have. I do not
Nice
recommend
callback.
people listening to that one.
I was a senior in high school.
Oh, my God.
That was my...
At least he wasn't like a junior or in middle school or something, you know?
I was only barely a senior, though, because it was in September.
Yeah.
Crazy.
True.
Then the next question, who directed Scott Pilgrim? I was right. Scott Pilgrim versus the World was co-written, produced, and directed by Edgar Wright.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Does he get a bing for that?
Yeah, we'll give him one.
Yeah.
Sorry for doubting you, sir.
Yeah, that's definitely in my realm. It's not. It's
It
still
is.
not a cartoon, but it's in the same
It's
wheelhouse.
in the wheelhouse, yeah.
A comic book movie. Well, I guess that's in your wheelhouse too.
Somewhat.
Then the last question we have in here was, has Brad Pitt directed anything? And as of yet, Brad Pitt has not directed anything, only acted in and produced.
There you go.
Did he direct his own sex honeymoon tape that Rye was talking about earlier?
I believe, actually, Robert Redford helped him with that.
What a guy!
He always pops up as a director.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was that everything?
That's all.
All right, get back in that jaw box.
Can do, thank you.
Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR. It works like this. Me and Matt, we're fighting on a topic. Our guest, Lauren, is playing judge and jury and executioner this week.
Ooh.
Telling the jawheads who she thinks won this CinemaWAR. It's important because we're fighting for jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. As we mentioned, big shakeup in the Star Wars universe, Matt. Directors and Disney have creative differences. Phil, tell the jawheads at home what today's CinemaWAR topic is.
Today's CinemaWAR topic, with news that directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller have left the Han Solo movie due to creative differences, it got us thinking. Do the studios have the right to control the artistic vision of a director after they have hired him for the job? Matt, you'll be fighting for yes. The studio calls all the shots. Rye, you'll be fighting for no. They only hire the directors, and that's when they have to believe in their vision. Let this cinema war begin.
Once again, Ryan has stacked the deck against me, and I find myself on the side of the man. How can I argue in favor of business over art? It's not really a question of whether or not the studio should have the right. It's do they have the right? And whether you like the answer or not, the answer has to be yes. He who controls the purse strings ultimately controls the decision making.
You're such a crybaby, Matt.
I am.
Picture this. After studying your hand-drawn portraits, Matt K., I have hired you to draw a portrait of my pretty, blemish-free, youthful, attractive face, okay? And as soon as you put the pencils to the paper, I say, I don't like it. I want a change of an artist. What sense does that make? I hired you based on your artistic merit. You should have the chance to finish the art.
You know, that's really interesting that you should say that, right? Because if I hired you to paint my car, arguably an artistic expression, right? And we agreed that the color should be red, but yet you painted it blue, it would not be outside of my rights to fire you and hire somebody else to paint it the color we specified. It's the same thing with movie studios. You hire someone to do a job under certain conditions, and those conditions must be met. It's business.
Here's the thing, Matt. Movies are big business, but they are also the best example of collective art projects that we have going. Studios hire directors, directors reach out to actors, producers reach out to crew, so on and so forth. The idea is, after you get your group together, you let them make the best art they can. You have to trust you made the right decision in the first place.
Look, do studios have the right is the argument. It's not should the studios be able to change things. If the question is, do they have the right? Yes, of course they have the right. And I'm sure it's in the contract, probably on a contract by contract basis. Some directors may get final cut, others may not, but the studio ultimately is in control of the intellectual property. Of course, they have the right.
But here's the thing. I think we can all agree here, sitting at this table, that micromanaging is not good for anyone. That is what Disney is doing with this Han Solo project. They hired directors after vetting them for months. Then, in the middle of shooting, they part ways? Not cool. My main complaint when it comes to Disney's branch of, say, the Marvel movies is that it's set on cruise control. It has become an assembly line for entertainment. And when it comes to movies, I like some visionaries.
That's a good assembly line of the factories put out good stuff. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, money is what let us have this art form, which we love so much, called film. Equally unfortunate is the studio system that Hollywood has created. Gatekeepers rarely make art any better. However, this is a system in which business is currently done. Therefore, the studios have the right. This is what we're arguing. Do they have the right? Yes, they do, to make these films as they see fit.
Matt, I finished with this. It's so ironic that this happened on a Star Wars movie, the most successful movie franchise in the history of cinema, a movie franchise that was one man's vision to begin with. If George Lucas had Disney micromanaging him back in 1977...
we might have had some better prequels?
No. When he had talking robots, a man in a black suit with a breathing problem, and a Wookiee named Chewbacca walking around a movie set, we wouldn't be having this conversation because it never would have been a success. Disney, hire the artists and give them the room to create, period. We are button heads here on CinemaWAR.
It's a tough one.
This was a good one. We throw it to our guest, our jury. Lauren, what did you think of this CinemaWAR?
I mean, my palms are sweaty. I'm nervous for myself, actually, to make this decision. You had me. Every argument, every time one of you would take the lead, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, if you paint my car the wrong color, totally, I've got your back. But I also just can't get past the artistic integrity and... oh, man. Damn the man. I got to go with Rye the movie guy.
Yes. Needed this one, Matt.
You got to damn the man. He's really stacking the deck.
But that makes you the man, Matt K.
I know.
I feel like that's not a bad thing.
No, it's okay.
If I say, like, you the man.
Right. Now that sounds
cooler.
good.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
then I'm just the man keeping everybody down.
I like it.
Right. I guess that earns you 20 seconds of jaw time to rant
and you
rave.
know what? I'm going to take my 20 seconds this time and do something non-movie related. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Quick story and lesson for the jawheads. I went to a workout club. We won't mention what it was, but every once in a while I like to go swim, do some laps.
You hit the gym.
Cardio. Yeah. I go swimming and I get done with my laps and I go to the hot tub, and I'm sitting there enjoying myself for about 5 minutes when a heavy-set, very hairy man, and this is never good for anything, heavy-set and hairy, look like of Greek descent, sits down in the pool. And I swear to you, Matt, I don't know if he's in the hot tub more than 2 minutes when he gives one of the biggest sneezes of all time without covering his mouth.
And you're a germaphobe.
Oh, my God. Almost threw up in the hot tub with this guy sneezing.
How fast were you out of there?
It was ridiculous. I mean, he literally sneezed, and I was like, oh, my God, just get up. I didn't even go to the little steps that they have. I just turned around and, like, climbed out of the big thing and just walked around. I'm like, straight to the showers.
Yeah.
Lesson, please, if you're going to go to a public hot tub such as that, don't sneeze.
Well, come on. I mean, that's
disgusting.
that should go without saying.
Yeah. You can fart because, there's bubbles. And no one will notice.
No one will know. Just don't sneeze.
Yeah.
Anything that happens below the water stays below the water.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. It brings us to trivia. Everybody loves a good game of trivia at the
Absolutely.
end of a podcast.
Yes.
And
Unless you don't know anything about movies.
As we mentioned, Baby Driver is coming out, directed by Edgar Wright. So we are playing Drive movie trivia. Think of movies with Drive in the title. That's your clue.
Speaking of Marvel and directors who have parted ways, Edgar Wright kicked off an Ant-Man.
Yep. Same.
Full circle. Go on, Rye. Sorry.
All right. So Drive movie titles. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, you're our guest. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on any question, you get one fill me in. Fill me in. Phil has clues to all the questions.
I'll go first.
Nice. Driving movie trivia.
Drive
movie trivia. Question number 1 over to Lauren. Morgan Freeman and Jessica Tandy starred in this Best Picture winner in 1989. Name it.
Driving Miss Daisy.
1-0, Lauren.
Woo! Nice.
Question 2 over to Matt K. Matt, Robert De Niro and Jodie Foster starred in Taxi Driver. Who directed the movie?
Francis Ford Coppola?
Ooh.
Completely incorrect.
Oh, man.
Number 2
totally
was supposed
that.
to be a layup here. Lauren, chance for a steal here.
Who directed Taxi Driver? You're going to make fun of me for my guess.
No.
Well, we know it wasn't Brad Pitt.
We did find that out, yes.
Steven Spielberg.
Was it Marty?
Yes, Martin Scorsese. Matt, fired up too early there.
Yeah.
Lauren, still in the lead, 1-0. Question 3 now jumps back over to Lauren. In 2011, the movie Drive Angry came out. It starred Amanda Heard and this actor. Drive Angry.
Probably not bad. Brad Pitt. Drive Angry.
Picture an actor that would star in a movie named Drive Angry.
I want to say the red-headed Michael guy who's in every movie that nobody knows who he is, and now I can't think of his last name.
Yeah, you don't even know who he is.
Michael.
Fassbender?
Yeah, maybe? Redheaded?
Not really.
No.
He's kind of more of a brunette.
No, he's a redhead. He's angry. Who else is angry?
Eric Stoltz? He's the first redhead that pops into mind.
Any guess?
I'm just gonna go with Steven Spielberg. I don't know. I got nothing.
That is incorrect, Matt. You got a chance for a steal and to tie the game.
I've never heard of Amanda Heard, and I don't think I've ever heard of this movie.
What are you talking about? Amanda Heard was the one that just got the divorce from Johnny Depp and all the...
Oh, she was in Magic Mike.
There you go.
See, I know something.
Okay, so I don't know why this popped into my mind. Nicolas Cage? Wow. Total guess. I had no idea.
1-1.
I mean,
Matt ties this one
Just
up.
thinking angry person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drive Angry.
Question 4 over to Matt K. Matt, name the actress who starred in Grosse Point Blank, Return to Me, and Sleepers.
Is that Okay, I'm guessing it's not Joan Cusack here. Return to Me and Sleepers. Is it Minnie Driver?
Drive movie trivia. You see what I did there?
Oh, wow, yes.
That was going to be my guess.
It is 2-1, Matt K. Question 6 over to Lauren. Lauren, 2 Coreys, 1 movie. It came out in 1988. Name it.
Say it again?
2 Coreys.
2 quarries? Like rock quarries?
No, like Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
Corey, sorry. Oh my God.
Do you know the 2 Coreys? Corey
Yes.
Haim, Corey Feldman?
Yes.
2 Coreys, 1 movie. It came out in 1988. Name it. Matt loves this movie. You can just tell.
I know. I love this movie a
I was
lot.
going to say, I know he definitely knows it.
I'm a big Corey fan, too.
You do have a fill me in if you need it.
I feel like I might know
And it's,
this one.
it's Drive movie trivia.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm going to have to go to Phil.
Whoa!
I think
Fill me in, Phil.
Yeah.
Phil, what was the name of that 2 Coreys movie?
Your clue is you need one of these to get behind the wheel.
Oh, I thought you were just going to tell me the answer.
No way. Just a
Damn.
clue.
Oh. I need one of these to get behind the wheel?
Legally.
Driver's license?
So you're on the clue. License.
Okay. License to drive? What? That's
nice.
a movie?
Nice.
That's not just a movie. That is the debut of Heather Graham.
Do I need to add that to my list of things to watch tonight?
No. No, I wouldn't say so.
I would, yeah.
No, I wouldn't. All right, it is 2-2. Question 6 over to Matt K. Matt, we all know Ryan Gosling was Driver in the movie Drive. Name the actress that starred alongside him as Irene.
Oh, man. Just remember Elliot Gould. I can't remember his love interest. You know what? Fill me in, Phil.
Fill me in, Phil. Whoa. Question number 6.
That's back to back.
What actress starred in Drive?
She was also in An Education and Never Let Me Go.
Was she in any of the Marvel films, Phil? that helped me.
Not at all?
No, not at all. An Education, and what was the other one?
Never Let Me Go.
Brie Larson.
That is incorrect.
I know who it is, but I'm terrible with the name. So can I describe her?
Sure. This would be a first.
She is now Ryan Gosling's wife. Or maybe they're not married, but they have a child. What?
It's incorrect. You were thinking of Eva Mendes.
Yes.
Yes, incorrect.
No. Who was?
We were looking for Carey Mulligan. Carey Mulligan.
Can we get a mulligan on that one?
Yeah, that was just a mulligan. Yeah. Here's the best part. It's still 2-2. Question 7 is over to Lauren.
Oof. This
Lauren.
is getting exciting.
Name the 1986 movie that starred Emilio Estevez that was directed by Stephen King and based on his short story named Trucks.
Oh, my God.
A movie directed by Stephen King, starring Emilio Estevez. Came out in 1986.
Side note, whatever happened to Emilio Estevez? Has anybody heard of
The
from
Mighty
him?
Ducks.
Yeah. That was the only one I knew, too. All right, so it's a movie about...
Trucks.
Is it called Truck Driver?
At least he's not tweeting about tiger's blood, you know?
Yeah.
I
Maybe,
think,
you think?
I think Emilio will be back.
What the hell is his brother's name?
Charlie Sheen.
What if Charlie Sheen ate him?
It's very possible.
Like consumed his...
No, Emilio has directed a few movies.
That's
Yeah?
true, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he did.
been around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt, you got a chance for a steal here.
Steal it.
Emilio Estevez, 1986, directed by Stephen King, based on one of his short stories called Trucks.
Uh-huh. And I'm pretty sure I know the name of this, and I think it's just Overdrive. That's my guess. Overdrive.
Ooh.
I'm
Looking
close,
for an
though.
exact maximum overdrive.
Damn it.
Maximum
I thought maybe there was an
overdrive.
adjective there.
Wow. This is shocking. It is 2-2, and the last question of the game is over to Matt K.
No pressure.
Matt, you can win it on a walk-off or let Lauren possibly win it on a walk-off.
Okay.
In 2012.
Oh, it's 2-2. It would come down to a tiebreaker.
Yes,
or we
or
could tie
tie.
and stay friends.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
Saying that too.
In 2012, the actor Adam Driver starred with Greta Gerwig in the black and white film directed by Noah Baumbach. Name it.
2012. Noah Baumbach, Adam Driver, black and white. This is a Rye the Movie Guy movie. It's like
Sounds like
I love it.
a horrible movie. No offense.
well, I mean, Kylo Ren. I'm pretty much down for anything that guy does.
Greta Gerwig.
oh, he's so excited. Look
I
at
am.
him.
It's a great movie.
I honestly have no clue. I have no clue. I don't know the latest black and white flick, The Artist. I don't know. What?
Incorrect. Wait, hold on.
Wait.
Oh,
Lauren
that's
might
right.
have a
That's right.
chance
I'm
to
sorry.
Steal it. I
Yeah.
definitely could probably steal
Yeah.
this one.
And then we would be laughing in your face. Ha ha, Matt
We
Kay.
would
Yes.
if that was to happen.
Yes.
So
I'd be like,
it's-
ha 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 ha, Matt Kay.
It's a black and white movie, and the drive part is the one guy whose last name is
Driver,
Driver.
Adam
Right.
Driver.
So
I will
the
say it does not
movie
have drive in the
doesn't
title.
have drive
No.
in the title. So we're talking 5 years ago, black and white movie. Schindler's List. Was that even a black and white movie?
That was black and white.
Was,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Probably 10 years ago. Though.
Yeah.
Or longer. It's
Even
15.
longer.
Yeah.
Jeez. We were looking for Francis Ha. I was giving a hint there as laughing at Matt. Ha ha ha.
God bless you.
Francis Ha. Wow. This
Come
one.
on, dude. Come on.
This one ends 2-2, but there are no ties on Cinemajaw. We have a tiebreaker.
We fight to the death.
That's right.
This question comes down to Lauren. This jawbreaker. Are you ready? Lauren, better movie driver, Burt Reynolds in Smokey and the Bandit or Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder?
Obviously, Smokey and the Bandit. What?
Incorrect.
I don't know, man.
Correct.
She's totally correct.
Yeah, the mustache alone, right?
Yeah.
He won with the
Mustache
mustache.
to drive.
I was joking. Here we go. Real jawbreaker is
Okay.
this. Age of Mini Driver, closest to.
Right now?
Yep. Matt, we'll lock you in first. What do you got?
I'd say 44.
Lock
Is
him in
it-
at 44, Phil. Lauren, you got to guess.
Closest altogether, closest without
Closest-
going over.
Nope, closest
like
altogether.
Price is Right style. Okay. I'm going to go with 47.
Mini Driver is 47 years old.
Wow.
Nailed it on the dot.
I'm really happy you won just because of
too.
that reaction. Well done.
Thank you.
It was well fought.
It was. I mean,
good.
she was yelling, and the Wonder Woman tiara actually lifted off her head for a little bit there.
It glowed.
Yeah, that was nice. Good times.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
That was good.
I
Yeah.
learned a lot.
Indeed.
Brings us to the end of a great jaw, though.
It's always sad.
Ah, boy, it's always tough to say goodbye.
It is. It's
for
really
another week.
so hard to say
Yeah.
goodbye.
To yesterday.
Yeah. First and
Boys
foremost,
to Men reference,
Yep.
and we said at the same time. Not this. I haven't been this proud of us.
we got to thank
It
our
was a
guest.
moment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
Lauren
much.
O'Neill, thanks for coming on Cinema Jaw.
Thanks for having me, jawheads and jaw people.
Yeah.
Are we going to see you around Chicago introducing some bands this summer?
Of course.
Where should I be
I'll
looking
all
for
over
Lauren?
the place. Oh man, we'll definitely be at Lollapalooza and Riot Fest. There's so many shows. Local H, just we were talking about our love of
Yeah.
Scott Lucas and Local H. They just announced a bunch of shows with Toadies.
Oh,
And
nice.
they're doing some festivals
Toadies,
too.
too.
So we've
Sweet.
got West Fest coming up. Scott Lucas and the Married Men have a date.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Well, I'll definitely be at Riot Fest, so I'll see you
Yes.
there.
And I'll definitely be at Lollapalooza. So
Awesome.
this is great.
Sounds good.
I want to schedule a screening in the Sound Lounge at 101 WKQX.
Oh, we are
It's a
so
great
there.
idea.
All over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
No
sure.
doubt.
We just got to figure out the movie now that we can all agree on.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Maybe License to Drive. Just putting that out there.
All right. We'll throw it out to the jawheads.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Matt, we also got to thank the best engineer in the biz, Elias Rodriguez. The guy leaves us again.
I know.
Out on vacation. So we got to thank Phil, our editor, and Fill Me In Phil, our engineer this week.
Thank you. I'm also glad you didn't say the second best this time because my mother was getting tired of writing angry emails.
Did he actually say second best?
No,
Okay,
that was
good.
a joke. Speaking of me being the second best, I also would highly encourage you guys to check out my webcomic, 20-something Angst. As always, it's somethingangst.tumblr.com. I did. There's a lot of cool stuff with the layout artwork that I did this week. I guess at this point it would be last Friday for you guys. But yeah, check that out, please.
We also got to thank all our sponsors.
Yes. Thanks to all the sponsors and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get those sponsors.
Yes. We also want to thank all our Patreons for supporting the show. And if you want to support us in another way, write us a review on iTunes.
Yeah, please do. The reviews on iTunes help us, reach more people. So, and plus, we just want to hear your feedback and let us know how we could do better.
You can also send a Brad Pitt poster to Rye the Movie Guy.
Oh, please
nice.
do. Yes.
I will put it on my ceiling. If someone sends one in, I'll put it on my ceiling.
Right above your bed, yeah.
I will, absolutely. Until next week, I'm Rye the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay.
And keep on jawing about the movies.